Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here, and welcome to our third and final installment of our Hyphen-American Conversation series. My name is Hasty Soltani, and I'm the Adult Programs Manager at MCA Denver. Tonight is the last of this conversation series, inspired by the exhibition Mary Ward, We the People. If you missed either of the last two Hyphen-American conversations, they're both available on our YouTube page for you to watch. If you like our programming and want to hear more about We the People, tune in this Thursday at noon for a conversation between Mary Ward and architect David Ajay, who designed MCA's iconic building. And if you want to stay up to date with everything MCA, text MCA to 56512 for occasional text updates from us. If you enjoyed tonight's conversation and would like to support us further and help us bring more programs like this to you for free, please visit mcadenver.org/support. This Hyphen-American series came about because of one of my favorite questions to ask people, which is, what was the first time you felt represented in American media? And so it's fitting that tonight we're ending with something very nostalgic. Tonight we have two wonderful local comedians leading the conversation about the TV show All That, and I'm so excited to introduce Danny Ramos and Noe Noel. Danny Ramos has been in the Denver arts community for 9 years, doing work ranging from improv to short films to acting in local community theater. He's a jack of all trades, a member of the Black Actors Guild, which is a Denver-based education and production company, and an award-winning comedian. Noe Noel is a Denver-based comedian who holds back nothing. Originally from Las Vegas, he has performed in New York, Los Angeles, Dallas, and cities all over Colorado. Noe will keep you laughing with his hilarious stories based on his real experiences and his commentary about life events. He's opened for Sam Talent and has headlined many local shows around Colorado. Please join me in welcoming Danny and Noe. Thank you both for being here.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much, Asti, for introducing us. I know Noe and I are very excited to be here and to be doing this final presentation for the Hyphen-American series that's going on for MCA. Just want to iterate, my name is Danny Ramos, and I invited my good friend Noe Noel here to just have a conversation about all that. Yeah, and if you don't know what all that is, then you are either very, very young or very old. I'm sorry, but all that was a Nickelodeon TV series that started in 1994, and it was essentially just like SNL for kids. And I invited Noe here to have this conversation with me just because we both are comedians, and we both, I know. It's hard to really even say you're a comedian if you haven't been doing it for 10 years, but I think combined we have 10 years, maybe half. But we both really enjoy comedy, and we both enjoy talking about comedy, and we're both first generation Americans. And so it is kind of a good topic to talk about feeling represented in something that we consider our like careers now.
Comedy, being represented in comedy is hard to find as first generations or even, any minority in this country. So it was nice. It is nice, to see where it started and see where it's grown to now, because of the starting of shows like programs like All That.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think it was huge to see the show as a kid and seeing it, like thinking about it now and how these discussions are still happening about like diversity and representation, right, and how there's still not really shows like that for kids currently. But I'm old now, you're old now, so
right. Yeah. I think cartoons are more representative these days for the children, but I can't think of a show off the top of my head that ensemble the cast like All That did to make sure everybody was inclusive, to make sure people watching the show would see representation in themselves. They were definitely the foundation of multicultural entertainment.
Right, and I think that's a perfect segue into our first clip that we want to share with everyone. And this is just a small glimpse into what all that was and is now that you can watch it on YouTube. But this is a small sketch. And keep in mind, like, look at where we are in like the location, look at the different character types, and think about what we're used to seeing and what we're seeing here on screen. And also, one thing to consider is that a lot of the cast members were encouraged to write their own jokes and write their own sketches. So kind of look at it in the lens of a kid, I would say. So let me get here. Excuse me. Sorry there. Cool. Sorry. Let me share my screen here. Cool.
They have the best ice cream here. Mark? What's wrong with you, Mark? You act like you're afraid of ice cream or something.
Jeepers, Penny. No one's afraid of ice cream. Really?
Oh, hello, dears. Can I be getting y'all some ice cream?
No.
Yes. I have an ice cream sundae, please.
Oh, hey, well. If it isn't Penny Lane, who's the two?
He's not a two. This is my friend Mark Kent.
Pleased to make your acquaintance. Oh. Wrong. Hey, you leave Penny be. Well, what are you gonna do about it, too? I have to go to the bathroom. Oh, well, let me give you a hand. Come on. Thank you. All right. You are such a gentleman. All right. You don't need nice people like you anymore. Yeah, what's the world coming to? All right. Oh!
Jack, you're nothing but a big bully.
How about a hug? Come on.
Wait.
What? Give me a hug. Hug this!
Superdude!
That's right, I'm Superdude, the teenage superhero with powers far beyond those of idiots like this guy with a plunger on his face. I can fly through the air and I can bend things that are hard. I also enjoy fluffy stuffed animals and soft kisses and chatting on the phone long distance. Okay, who we are? Superdude and no Superdude. You going down. Now let me show you how it's really done.
Let's hear it for Superdude.
Yeah. Let's not. Milkman, well, I should have known you make one ugly old woman.
That's correct, Superdude.
That's Superdude, and I know you mispronounced it on purpose.
Oh, yeah? Prove it.
No, I think it's time to teach you a lesson.
I think you're gonna have a hard time teaching me anything with this ice cream all over your head. Superdude!
Superdude, go after him.
He can't. Superdude is lactose intolerant.
Lactose intolerant? What's that?
It means he can't handle dairy products, milk, cheese, yogurt, etc. Anything with milk in it can defeat his super strength.
Especially ice cream! Look out, stupid dude! Now, just one more thing, it'll be goodbye forever, Superdude!
Milkman, can't we just sit down and discuss our differences?
When I fling this giant scoop of ice cream at your head, you will be finished forever! No! So long, Superdude!
trying to harm me. Ow! This is for calling me names. Ah! And this is for getting Penny all messy. Enjoy your flight. Penny!
You're the best, Super Dude, even if you are lactose intolerant.
Oh. Penny! Penny, are you okay?
No. I prefer chocolate.
Who's gonna pay for all of this? Well, I'll pay for the hole in the ceiling, but I'm afraid the ice cream's on you.
All right. Beautiful, amazing. There's so many things to really talk about in that. Just that little sketch there.
Really? Yeah.
Obviously, it's not like comedic genius, but this is 95, 96.
Right, and them kids are writing them jokes too, so that's crazy right there. Yeah, kids and adults writing jokes together. Pretty good. It was pretty good. I think that I prefer chocolate. That was good. I was like,
yeah, just that thrown in at the end. I was like, oh.
It's funny too. Like we were talking about this before. The hairstyles, like the afro when he's like the Clark Kent figure, and how they gave him the wig with the Superman perm. When
yeah, exactly. His hair is all straight.
Oh man, yeah. I think because I mean they depicted like the African Americans as heroes. Even one was a villain, one was a hero, and then even then you have like the white kid that was there, the Milkman. They depicted him as a villain, where in like 1991, it's like you would see the stereotypes in completely opposite ways, you know.
Right, exactly. And I think one thing I wanted to point out also was just like they're in a diner, which is interesting because I think traditionally, like for instance, in movies like Back to the Future or things like that, it's like when you're at a diner, it's primarily just like the white community is hanging out at the diner.
There's
who's working
of separation and whatever. Yeah,
exactly. So it is cool to see like these roles flipped in just this sketch, in like a kid's sketch in 1995. And I think AJ brings up a funny topic that you had brought up, like your relationship with his weakness.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, when I was a kid, I was like, I felt invincible. You know, I thought I was strong and fast, but I was lactose intolerant too. Like,
yeah, it's funny how that is his weakness.
Man, they know what's going on over here.
Yeah, it's like the dairy industry was like, no, they can't know.
Oh man, that is funny. It's funny because I think even like Kel Mitchell's part where he's playing the bully, he almost seems like they're trying to play him off like he's Italian or something, you know. He's not an original gangster. He's like something else with the all leather on, like he looked like West Side Story or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It was so like just seeing just a small glimpse of all that and really just kind of taking that in as like a kid. It was what was really cool about all that is that it like gave like boys and girls a voice in comedy at a time where like I personally thought that comedy was for adults, especially like white adults. I'm like, or like cartoon yellow adults, which was like The Simpsons and like Seinfeld. I saw that on TV all the time, and I was like, oh, yeah. There's like one brown character in The Simpsons and zero in Seinfeld, but they're in New York. I don't understand how that works, but
cameos everywhere. Like they had the black lawyer, just like random little cameos.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's also understandable too, to an extent, because people usually help their own people, you know, like and certain people have positions of power, So it's like, I'm my homies. I'm gonna do this show with my homies, you know. And if that's all you're hanging around with, it makes sense that, you know, that's the output of your creative, you know, your creativity or your whatever program that you produce. That's what comes about it.
That's a good point. I do think that's what makes Nickelodeon unique during that time, because it seemed like they kind of looked for kind of like creating this diverse cast amongst their shows. And actually from this LA Times article from 1999, which is Diversity Proves the Norm in Nickelodeon Programming, Herb Scannell was like, I don't know if he's the current Nickelodeon president, he might have been the former, but he was quoted, "We really do believe that reflecting our audience is our strength." Because at the time, Nickelodeon was like killing it. And it is interesting to think whether that is is it money driving that, or was it like values?
Well, I think when they created, or when you perceive things, when they created the show, you could tell they went out with the intent to be inclusive, right? Rather than it being somebody lashing out and be like, oh, this doesn't work for us, we don't see ourselves. They went out with the intent to include everybody, and therefore they became wildly successful, rather than being reprimanded and then later including people so that they can, you know, widen their shares or their audience. They went for it with the intent.
Yeah, and I think we see examples of that today where, like you said, companies or like studios or anything are getting reprimanded because they don't have representation.
Right, and then they overdo it. They're like,
it's like
all this. We've been like, it's extra.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we've decided to just fire everybody and hire all people of color. You're like, that's not what we're trying to do.
And things like this, like when you give children an opportunity to be in a part of something, right? And then they grow and they look for opportunities to give other people opportunities, and that just builds, you know. And then hopefully you see more programming where, you know, you have Kenan Thompson now in SNL, so now their skits are more diverse. It gives them like a resume, and you put more energy into being diverse, basically by just having the intent to create diversity.
Exactly. Yeah, like the original cast in 1994 had 4 girls and 3 boys, with more than half of the cast being a person of color, which I can't even think of a show now that is like that. You know, you see shows like Friends, and or I can't even think of any other show, like Seinfeld again, or Frasier, or
anything that is kind of like it would be Community, but even in that show, a majority of them are white, I'm pretty sure.
At community college. Yeah, I went to community college and I was like, what? and
the thing that all that did, they weren't going for like an attractive cast. They were kind of just trying to build off of people who they thought were funny, where nowadays almost all shows are based off of how attractive the cast is. And even for the kids, they be making shows like that. And
yeah, which is like hella creepy.
Like, why are we doing that? Why is that necessary?
Yeah, I that's a great point that you bring up, because I think as a kid who was not only like a brown kid, Mexican kid, and was watching a show like all that, but I also felt included because of like there was kids that like were like my size. You know, they had just like the bigger kids. They had like very small or petite kids. They had the tall, lanky kids, and I was like, oh, you know, like everyone can be funny. You know what I mean? Or like, I can, someone like me can be on TV. That's really cool.
Yeah, I looked just like Kel Mitchell when I was a kid, bro. I had a whole gap in everything. It was a whole thing. I was like, man, if this cat can do it, I could do it too, boy.
I guarantee this show made so many teachers like hate this show because everyone wanted to be funny.
Right, yeah. Because before then, you know, what is a class clown? You know, like
Just a loud one.
Somebody in detention. Troublemaker.
Yeah, and one thing also to talk about is how their use of like hip hop within the show.
Yeah, that was a big plus for all that. They had who was it? LL Cool J, LL Cool J, Aaliyah, Coolio. LL Cool J was on that. They had Erykah Badu, Missy Elliott, Oz.
TLC did the opening.
Man, I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong, but Jennifer Lopez was on that show dancing in the background. No,
dancing in the background. That's actually where she got her start.
That's where she got her
start. Like, you're not doing sketch comedy no more. You're coming over here. P. Diddy's calling. Yeah, AJ's bringing up Good Burger. We have a Good Burger sketch we're going to show later. We can get into Good Burger later, but that was just iconic. I feel like I still hear people saying, "Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger."
So if you mention Kenan and Kel, that's usually the first thing that goes to. They don't even think about SNL. Or like,
oh my God. What do you think? What do you think was the most depressing last episode? Kenan and Kel's last episode, or Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
I don't know, man. I think I cried when Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
You stood in your own living room like,
wow.
Yeah. You're like, it's really over, isn't it?
I thought when Kenan and Kel ended, I thought they came out with a movie before, and that's what launched the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vice versa. Okay.
They had to move, but it wasn't it like Kenan or Kel's family moved away, and or Kenan's family moved away, and Kel was there. It was literally the same thing. He was just standing in the living room alone.
No furniture. Oh man.
Was there a point that, like, in the era of all that, where you felt like you wanted to pursue like comedy? Because I know as a kid, we're always asked like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? And I feel like for me, I only said things that I was like aware of.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I want to be a teacher, because I like that was what I knew.
Right.
And when I saw kids doing like comedy on TV, I was like, whoa, this is what I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Not for me, man. I still was like, wow, those are the 7 who made it.
Yeah, that is like this now.
It's like they did it. I'm glad for them. But I think I can't even. I was just in so much trouble when I was a child. I couldn't even think of. I still didn't have people telling me, "Hey, you could be an actor or do anything in comedy." It was still up until college. I was still on that mindset of realistic expectations from your parents type.
And I think this is kind of goes into a conversation that we've had before, but there is a lot of pressure that comes with being the first generation of a family that has migrated here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is probably a great thing to talk about right now, which is that your dad is from Haiti, correct?
Yeah.
And my parents are from Mexico and Iran. So there is like a great deal of pressure to be very successful in this American dream, and like trying to pursue something that seems very real to them, but as like the first kid, and you're just like, oh, I want to do all this cool stuff. Look at all this stuff on TV.
Yeah. Look at all these other things you could do.
Yeah. I'm good at math, but I'm also funny.
Yeah, I think they put a lot of pressure on their children simply because they feel like they've done so much to get over here, and they don't want you to squander your opportunities, is how it's seen in their eyes. But everybody is their own life. Everybody's got to kind of navigate through life how they see fit. And that's, again, where we come back to all that. It's like, you see these outlets, you see these opportunities that if you're born into a world and all you see are the same types of faces or the same types of people doing something, you think that's for them, and you live in a life where that's for them. But when you see these outlets that are showing or really inclusive, then you're like, oh, I could do this too. Important. No matter what age, you figure that out. It's important.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think also that pressure is a little bit like validated in a sense. Like I would never have admitted that years ago, but now that I'm older, I feel like it makes sense to me, like my parents kind of like wanting the best for me. And the only way they know how to express that is by telling me what to do. Like, you are good at this, do this, you will make money. Like, we only have this much money. That's all we can really give you or whatever. Do for you. So if you want to survive or things like that, because it works for them in a sense. So like now there's so much opportunity here. Yeah. Like, why aren't you taking advantage of it? They look at it's like some cycle.
A lot of parents in the sense don't factor in time has passed and technology has changed since you were a child. So of course there's more opportunities. There are probably more opportunities worldwide. You think about it with the globalization and what it was and where we are now with these Zoom calls and everything like that. Everybody's got opportunity. But then again, I do see there is validation. You're right. There's definitely validation because where we are and because they're your parents.
Yeah.
Too,
And yeah, exactly what you said. Like the access to everything has changed everything. So it makes us feel like we can do it. We think we can be that cast of people on TV. Because I remember when all that had auditions, I don't even think they were probably real auditions.
Right.
They were like, send a tape in.
Keenan was in Mighty Ducks before he was in all that. So
I don't even want to get started on Mighty Ducks. I was like, brown people play hockey too? But I remember all of that was like, we're looking for a new cast member. Like, record a tape and send it in. Like, recording a VHS tape. I remember I asked my mom, and my mom was like, all right, go buy a tape then. I was like, where?
Like that, Mom?
I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to record over Rugrats All Grown Up.
This might be your big break, son.
Yeah, but I'm sure it was like just like a marketing ploy at the time. Just be like, okay, we're just gonna get all these kids hyped up about all that.
Right. And then they would watch it to see what they're looking for. And they did run 10 seasons though, so that's a kudos.
Yeah, no, totally. I gotta plug my. I kind of want to talk a little bit more about just this idea of just being the idea of being an artist in the eyes of like a first generation family. And what did your dad want you to be?
I can't even remember. I remember when I was little, I wanted to be a fireman, and he was like, "Firemen don't make no money." I was like,
literally be like a hero and like a symbol of the community.
So I don't even know what he wanted. I think he wanted me to be a doctor for a while, but I think we both knew that wasn't realistic. That wasn't realistic. I just want to tell you. But then he set the bar a little bit lower. He was like, "Yo, just graduate college. That's all right. That's fine."
I want to hang a piece of paper up in my living room.
Let me
Maybe
take
standing in the living room, just a diploma.
like, where's your transcripts? Oh, my dad got them. Yeah.
Here, I think this would be a good time to show our next clip.
Mhm.
And probably one of the most famous. And here we go. Cool. Boom. And as all we know, Good Burger sketch. Everyone who's watching should know this at this point, but we'll just go right into it.
There. Okay, I'm ready.
Ed, there is no way that you can drink an entire Turbo Good Gulp in under 10 seconds.
Oh, yeah? Behold.
Okay, go. 9 seconds.
He did it. Yeah, I am the king of liquids.
Someone's at the drive-thru. Back to work.
Ah, cool. Yeah. Okay.
I'd like a good burger, please.
You're gonna have to wait. I have to tinkle. Judy, could you cover for me? I really gotta tinkle.
No, Ed. The bathroom is out of order.
Okay, that's okay. I'll just clean it up.
You're gonna have to wait until the plumber gets here this afternoon.
Come on, Judy, but I'm all full of tinkle.
You have to wait.
Oh, okay. All right. Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
I told you I wanted good burger.
Okay, where do you live?
About 6 blocks from here. Why?
Do you have a bathroom at your house?
Well, yeah.
Can I come over?
No! You're disturbing.
Okay. Just don't think about tinkling. Okay.
Hello, I'm Connie Muldoon.
Okay, well, what do you want, Connie?
Hey, I have a medium good soda here, which is plenty for me to drink. But we Muldoons like to drink out of large cups. May I have a larger cup?
Yeah, okay. Here you go.
Thank you. I'll transfer it now.
Okay, wait, you don't have to do that right now. Oh.
There, I completed the transfer.
Hi, my name is Barry. Somebody call a plumber? Yes! Wow! Hey, dude! Yeah, okay, go fix the bathroom, okay, Barry? No, Perry. Huh? Don't see, you called me Barry, and my name is Perry. Okay. That's not for the B. I'm Barry the plumber. That's two B's. Get it? Yeah. B. Got it. B. Oh, look, a buster. That's not for the B, too. Hey, you! Get over here! I'll tell you what! Look at my Good Burger sandwich! It's covered with nickels! Okay! Marty's got nickels! Look, dude, you said you wanted nickels on your sandwich. No! I said pickles! Pickles! Pickles with a B! No! B! No! B! No! Yes! Pickles with a B! A B! A B!
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I tried to run through walls as a kid thinking that exact what same.
Hey man, had you fooled, huh?
Yeah, I was like, I think one thing to bring up after this clip also is just kind of the like subtle, the subtleness of all that and how there was like small little conversations about like community and things like that within the show. Another article that we had talked about is that the quiet radicalization of all that, or radicalism of all that, which was in the Atlantic in 2014. And one example was the character of like the loud librarian. And what was funny about the loud librarian, which was portrayed by, I think her name was Lori Beth, the one that was asking for the bigger cup.
Yeah.
And she portrayed the loud librarian. What was great about that is that she would just be like actually really loud, and then she would tell everyone to be quiet. It was like a very like dumb joke, but it was like a crowd favorite. And what Jake Flanagan in the article had wrote is that the maddening realization that authority figures are often in fact totally prone to hypocrisy, which I think is a great like topic of discussion, because it's this idea that as kids we're watching these shows, we're not only seeing these like diverse casts, but we're also seeing these ideas that we're kind of like also relating to our day-to-day lives even as kids.
Right. Yeah. And then not only did they have a diverse cast, but they didn't touch on race. Like it wasn't about race, the show at all.
Right.
Not once that it wasn't mentioned. It was just purely comedy and everybody doing it together. So,
yeah, it was like what was it? Pepe? No, what was his? What was Keenan's character when he was the French guy in the bathtub?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can look at that stuff.
Yeah, he was literally just French guy telling French jokes in the bathtub. But for instance, for this clip that we had just watched, I think it kind of talks about how, or it kind of relates to what you were saying about the cast just being like normal kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think was because I feel like now if we were to see a sketch like that, everyone would be like looking pretty. And
right.
Pierre Escargot, that's what it was. There we go. And I think if we were to watch a sketch of a group of like young adults at a drive-in, they would be all like looking pretty. Everyone would be looking really nice and things like that. But like with this sketch, it's like everyone just like looked like a normal person, just like working.
Yeah. And they used kids to play kids, where nowadays a lot of people use adults or somebody who's a lot older or whatever to represent age that is a lot younger than what they are, just to pull off the pretty factor. What's also interesting is they used the whole cast to display all the cultures. You know, they didn't limit them just because of what color they were to what kind of sketch they could do. They pretty much allotted everybody to play to their strengths. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's just another point to make when you see characters like that on screen. It gives you the idea that like theater and improv is not just like a white thing. It could be everything, as long as you just like embody the character.
Right. Yeah. And also when they wrote the jokes you can tell they weren't like trying to pander to the parental figures who might be watching in the room, or you could tell that they were writing the things they thought kids would think were funny, purely stupid things like somebody holding in their pee. That's like that's adults sort of like, what is this? But I remember seeing this sketch as a kid, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, and then in the background, and like the subtlety in the background on the sign for like the menu, it literally said like fresh lemonade, and it was like a cup pouring out lemonade. Yeah, I was like, oh, they put some serious thought in this.
Yeah. I know we wanted to open up the comments at some point for.
Yeah, Phil, if for anyone who's watching, feel free to ask any types of questions that you may have in the comments section, and Noe and I will answer to the best of our ability. We love to hear your ideas of, or any other shows that you thought were important to you, or if maybe all that inspired you in any way. I know that for me, it was like, it just kind of like created this idea in my head that I can just like be funny on TV, I guess.
Yeah.
Which was probably I'd probably be a lot more wealthy now if I'd never.
If that idea never crossed your mind.
Oh, man, yeah.
You might achieve wealth beyond your imagination because of that idea, right? You know what I'm saying? Or you could just be chasing a dream, you know? Yeah.
Exactly. For you, was there any moment, like what moment in college were you just like, oh, you know, was it just like enough people were telling you that you were funny, and then you were like, oh, okay, maybe I'll tell some jokes?
Nah. I figured it was more like I sat down and was like, I need to do something that's not gonna land me in jail.
So you landed on comedy?
I wrote down the things I was good at, and you know, and what I enjoyed doing. And I was class clown, high school, 09, Rancho. Check my credentials. I was always just in trouble for being funny, and I think that is why it took so long to see it as a positive thing, right? To see it as a career path, because for so long as a kid, everybody's like, oh, you got detention because you're making people laugh, or you talk to everybody, you got to sit over there by yourself. So it always had this negative connotation, but I think it was more like a self-realization, like, hey man, you always been funny, it's always been easy to make people laugh, so you might as well pursue that, and hopefully one day I can sustain a living off of that purely because I enjoy it.
So when, I guess I'll just bring up the Denver comedy scene. When you were first entering it, because the scene is not that diverse, was there any sense of like imposter syndrome when you entered the scene? And if there was there any way that you navigated that imposter syndrome?
I don't know if it was so much imposter syndrome as it was like some of my jokes that I thought were really funny just weren't relatable to some people, you know. And I think a lot of material that I use, because I cycle through a lot of material, I think some of the material I used was just not relatable. I think it was more of a hurdle to find the voice that I could use that would work without, you know, straying too far from yourself, because that's the last thing you want to do, you know. So it was more trying to find what was relatable, because that was hard. Yeah. But never imposter syndrome. I knew you can kind of tell where you belong and where you fit in, but either way, everybody has something that you can find common ground, you know.
Right. I asked that because now I feel like it kind of grew from this. Like we're talking about all that, and there's a cast of like these kids, and you see them, and you're like, oh, I can do that. But getting to the point of like entering a new community and entering this like new world, and like feeling that you don't belong. I know I'm currently feeling that because I'm like studying software development, and software development is as white as the Denver comedy scene. Like I'm just asking for some no way wisdom here.
Yeah, man, stay true to yourself, Danny.
Sage,
when you write in the language, make sure you put a little Dannyism in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like every web page has your name on it. What's going on here?
Get a little signature and just.
Sage, shout out to Sage for asking a question here. But she also said her aunt had a short stint on the Amanda Show. The whole family totally uses as their claim to fame, all about the era of comedy, which is super cool. And she's also asked, have either of you changed your sets on the fly after you've scanned the audience? Ooh, that's a good question. No way. Would you like to start us off?
Oh, every time I go into a bar and I scan the audience, if I don't see any like minorities, they hear about it. Something unique, very special to that group. They hear.
It's that scan when you're looking around like this. I guess I'll just scratch out half my set.
I remember one time I walked into a bar and I was like, okay, so I went up there. I was like, you guys realize there's more dogs in this bar than black people?
Bro, yeah, what is it? It's like, like there's more dogs in here than actual people at this point. Like, dog bar.
Dog bar.
Lavisa asks, how does it feel to have...
Answer the question. Go ahead. I know you have.
Yeah, I think I feel like I am fortunate to like sit in like a unique, like where I grew up in Parker, and so I'm just like can put on a face and be like, oh yeah, but I feel like I do the same thing where I'm just like I will change my jokes, but then when I feel like every time I change a joke to cater to the audience, it goes poorly. Like if I'm not staying true to myself, like you had said, I just like, it doesn't seem genuine. I'm just like, oh, what do you, liberals, right? I'm like, no, like I'm doing a show in like the middle of Highlands Ranch. I'm like trying to be funny to like Highlands Ranch crowd, and I'm just like crumbling. Lavisa asks, how does it feel to have to adjust your content to an audience that doesn't look like you? Is it still enjoyable?
I have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please.
I think it is. That's what makes comedy fun, is that it's like, if I can write a joke that can cover like the spectrum of communities and people, I feel very accomplished. But also it is really cool to like step on some toes while you're telling some jokes, and you can see it on their faces, and it kind of gives you this like vigor to like comment on it and like be in that space.
Yeah, I agree. I feel it's nice to be able to be in front of people who aren't like you, so you give them an opportunity to see what you are like, you know, because they probably don't get to see people like you in general, so therefore you get to be a representation of, you know, my people, or whatever that may be, you know, quote unquote my people. So it's nice, and if they enjoy it, usually I'm having a good time, and usually people enjoy it because it's genuine. And if they don't, then what can you do?
Right, exactly. I think you said it best, where it's like you can be this we can be this like kind of this introduction or something, or like a representation to maybe some like a story that this group hasn't necessarily heard before, or like this insight into our lives, into like maybe people will like be curious about and learn more about. But unfortunately, it looks like, well, we can do one more question. And Kiera asks, what's your favorite way to handle hecklers?
I don't get heckled.
No way is too famous and too funny.
No, I usually just try and address it immediately, you know, and then overpower it, where it's like I turn whatever they said into a joke and then try to keep on moving, because it's not about them.
I think, I think also heckling comes with more time in the industry. I feel like we are in a good place where Denver is like very like a great place for comedy, and the crowds are always really good. And I don't feel like I've been in comedy long enough to really, really be heckled to where it's like devastating to my character. But I'm sure those like Midwest shows that are coming or somewhere, in the middle of nowhere or something. Yeah, they're like, why are you here?
Well.
But yeah, unfortunately, that is all the questions we can take at this moment. And I believe that is our time. Yeah, Kira saying get ready. But yeah, I just want to thank everyone who tuned in to the Hyphen-American conversation series. Thank you so much to Hasi for asking us to join her today. Thank you to Noe. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Hasi. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you both so much for being here, and thanks for such a fun conversation.
Of course, of course.
And big thank you to everyone who came tonight and to everyone who's been watching the preceding weeks. Thanks to Danny and Noe. You guys should definitely watch their comedy, listen to their podcast. It's a lot of fun. As I mentioned earlier, this is the final program of our Hyphen-American series, but all 3 programs and various other MCA programs are available on our YouTube channel. We hope that you've all enjoyed tonight's program and all of our virtual programming. And if you're interested in supporting us with a donation, please visit mcadenver.org/support. Every donation counts and is very appreciated. And we hope you all have a good night.